Let go of lies, put my fears aside, and put my armor of God on, and do what's right to do, regardless of how it makes me feel sick inside. But the only reason I feel sick inside is because, well, I feel what you guys should be feeling, I think. At least Uncle Will. So this is the last time I'm gonna tag Uncle Will, because yesterday, Uncle Will had it in me. Well, no, he had it in himself to, decide that he was gonna threaten me with getting me locked up in the hospital because 'cause I'm such a threat to society or something. I don't know. I'll have to get the answers from him. What about me scares you, Uncle Will? I don't quite understand. Quite frankly, let me know where I'm wrong. But if there was a bunch of people that were willing to stand up against the evil that's going on in the world, that might make the evil stop. You know what I mean? More people like you that are willing to sit back and what do you mean who's threatening us? Uncle Will threatened me yesterday. "Oh, are you part of the team, Daniel?" Like, "Hey, you threatened one of us. It's all of us." So what you're saying, Daniel? Yeah, he came on my live yesterday and was threatening to make phone calls and stuff to get me locked up in the hospital. And you know by my stories of telling you about it that, anything's possible. The people who had me on the brink of suicide got to throw me in the hospital, bud. It's a big old story about that, like, no evidence to say that someone's violent and suicidal and locked them up against their will, and the only reason you can is because they came to you for help because of these people who have convinced you to lock them up. You know what I mean, Daniel? And I also know that, well, you don't get to stand up for yourself if someone calls the hospital on you too, you know what I mean? Even if you're a victim of that person's violence, you still call, right? You got a really funny story. You want stories, Daniel? We can this isn't the time, but I got a really funny story for you. The 5th time I went into the hospital, like, I come on here and I say I'm chosen and stuff. I don't run around the streets going, "I'm the chosen one. You better listen to me." You know what I mean? But I got a really funny story about the 5th time I went in, because I was pretty confident. I was pretty confident based on the time that I showed him the video that said, "Hey, did you do this?" And he said, "No, she's lying." Thought that might be an indicator for him, but the big part was I didn't think that someone that would assault you could make calls on your mental health, because if they were willing to assault you, doesn't that mean that there's something wrong within their head and they shouldn't be making calls on yours, especially when you don't have an incident of violence. And that seems to be like the story that I I'm just trying to get out of this fantasy, Daniel. Well, no, I just wanna let like, no, they do do stuff like this, Daniel. No, they do, like, there's this guy called Wade, he'll put phone numbers out there so you can try and hurt people's jobs, and yeah, it's a whole rigmarole out here. This is humanity today. They don't know they're a big part of a show. They haven't clued in yet. I've been trying to tell them, "Hey, just have a conversation, talk about a guy. Hey, Daniel, think about this. Think about it this way." They can't comprehend it, but say you were really struggling mentally because You felt like God was, like, telling you something, like you were chosen to do something. You know what I mean? To For a sane person to think that that was going on, and then you know what I mean? And that's hurting your mental health, and you wanna feel better about it, so you're taking loads of marijuana, you know what I mean? That probably didn't help things better, Daniel, but it made me feel better, you know what I mean? 'Cause when I wasn't on the marijuana and I'm still being told that I'm chosen from God and, you wanna find others, you know what I mean? You wanna stop your suffering, you know what I mean? So I got hung up on I went through this it's a big, long story, it's all recorded, it's mystical, you know what I mean? But mental, some alchemy, some you know what I mean? Anyways, we'll get into that another time, Daniel. But where was I even going with that? I can't even remember, Daniel. But no, yeah, yeah. So you're going through all this stuff. All you're doing is you're looking for fucking help. You're like, hey, I just want someone to talk to. Now, this up church thing isn't my first mistake, but you know what I mean? There's this guy called Michael Della Rocha over on Our Daily Lives. And I can prove every word I say. You know what I mean, Daniel? There's emails between the 2 of us, there's videos that he's done, and the court all the correspondence, all recorded, like I said. This will be a documentary like no documentary ever done before, and turned into a movie perhaps. But anyways, Daniel, I went through this Michael Della Rocha guy first to try and get some help, to talk to him. Now, what happened is that we were all set to talk, and I didn't know how it all worked. I didn't know the whole what spirituality costs or any of that stuff. So he said it was all donation. So I thought to myself, I thought, if this guy gives me like 10 minutes, $50, that's an easy $50, right? Well, I don't know what happened, bud, but he never answered me back and wouldn't talk to me anymore. And I was like, "Is it something I did?" Or, like, I still question myself. I wanted to believe, like, he's telling me he's Archangel Michael, you know what I mean? I'm thinking I'm the chosen one. Some of the shit I went through, thinking, Daniel, I really at the time wasn't thinking it was impossible that he could be Archangel Michael, to be honest. I was a bit of a fool, you know what I mean? That's what spiritually awakening's all about. It's about learning from your mistakes and catching on to the buffoonery that we tend to it's about letting go, you know what I mean, Daniel? But anyways, so I ended up thinking maybe I was the problem, you know what I mean? So I joined his Patreon at $50 a month because they did, like, these little, Zoomers, right? So hey, vintage. So I finally got the balls up to try and go on. And I wanted to talk, but this other guy kept talking about Bitcoin and shit like that. And I'm like, what are we here? What are we chosen to do? Why are we talking about Bitcoin? Like, if we're chosen, we know that the children are in trouble. We've at least come to that fucking conclusion, right? Anyways, it was a big rigmarole. It'll be recorded, Daniel. He then insinuated I yelled at women and but it's all recorded, you know what I mean? And then he did shows about me because I stayed on his Patreon and pasted on his wall, and he couldn't stop me because, well, I was paying for a service that it was funny. It was funny to me anyways, Daniel. It would all be recorded too. But anyways, so I took a long time trying to vindicate myself because, well, he told like, I think at that time he had like 70, 80,000 subs, and he's telling them all I'm a demon, and inside of me, I know I'm chosen by God. And this guy's trying to make me feel bad about myself when this could have been avoided with just a conversation, Daniel. You know what I mean? He could have just been a man and said, $50 isn't enough. I am spiritually gifted and I need more than $50. Like, at least tell me what the fuck a donation is, Daniel. You know what I mean? But this is all recorded, so I think I can show people because Michael Della Rocha, he'll teach you a lot of good things. This is the thing with cults and stuff like that, Daniel. They teach a lot of good things and a lot of truths and a lot of things that make sense so that you follow what they say. But really, what they're doing is they're telling people they're strong when they're weak. Michael Della Rocha says, hey, don't pay attention to the darkness. Don't try and make any sense about it. Because if you sit here in the light with me, we're going to ascend. Now, I'm not saying Michael's wrong, Daniel. I'm not saying he's wrong. But how does he know he's right? Should we not always try and do the best thing for the best outcome, for the best situation? You know what I mean? We're supposed to be big, strong, chosen ones, right? You think we know that we have the strength to beat the darkness. Like, but then again, Daniel, this is where I get lost, and everybody's dancing and singing about Jesus, and it looks like a Jesus revolution. But if it really was, we wouldn't allow this stupidity to go along around us. Like, Daniel, like, if you go watch the WEF videos and you actually learn about these people, they tell us exactly what they're doing because they think we're stupid, because they think they're that smart to convince us we're stupid. But I'm trying to show these people, like, hey, just take a look. Find out for yourself what makes sense. What is the dark? What are you trying to say? What if the darkness is forever? Well, wouldn't we want to limit it, Daniel? Like, I'd say the darkness has overrun the light. No one's willing to stand up to the darkness. So, do we let it rule forever, or do we try and show people that there's a better way through the truth, Daniel? What is the truth? I try and tell these people, hey, is the WEF real? Is this agenda real? Is there a vice president and wannabe vice president that currently want children to decide whether or not they should get mutilated? The problem is my prime minister's down with it, and Canada is just that. It's a whole sort of, I don't know, but I hate being mean. I want to wake my brothers and sisters up, but holy smokes, how can you do it nicely, Daniel? How can you say, hey, can we can we not let grown men into little girls' change rooms? Like, how stupid do we gotta be to keep allowing this bullshit? Like, men, if your women are trying to convince you that that's not the right thing to do, then maybe those shouldn't be the right women for you. You know what I mean? Maybe you shouldn't have those women fucking raising your fucking boys. Because I know what it's all about, Daniel. I lost control. I gave all control over. Do you know what I mean? My kids don't have to clean up after themselves. They're not responsible for themselves. But I think this is what the system's creating. You know what I mean? Got my one son who pretty much has a full-time job, and he couldn't move out if he wanted to because he don't have no money or nothing. You know what I mean? He could have saved up and stuff like that, but in all reality, you can't be a young lad with almost a full-time job and or an apartment, you know what I mean? Unless you're gonna have 2 or 3 roommates so you can, have the luxuries of, doing some stuff. What does your soul do for money? What does he works at a grocery store. Like, Daniel, do you not see that maybe the point of Christ is to see your own power? You're supposed to have the I am presence, which is maybe the Christ presence. Maybe that was the second coming of Jesus. Who knows? Maybe him coming through the clouds is the Christ in the big old cloud, using the devil's tools against them. That's what I think, Daniel. I don't know. I was hoping Uncle Will'd come in and I could go over his video. Cause, well, it's a lot nicer than he made a video but didn't tag me or anything. Right, that's cool. Well, that's the thing, Daniel. I think we need a brand new system, bud. This one's broken. This one's really broken. Life gets worse. Cause when I was a young lad his age, I did have my own apartment. You know what I mean? And I could do it, and I had a car. How does it get worse? Are we not smart enough to think that, it's made to get worse? It's not made to make it better. Oh, Daniel, I don't know about I'm confused. This world confuses me, but like all I've said is, hey, if I'm telling fibs, let me know. Like Daniel, I've been laying prophecies out here for a long time, but I told everybody, I'm like Jay-Z and Puff Daddy are killers. I don't know for sure or not. It was just a prophecy. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe are they gonna get fulfilled? Well, rumor has it on the P. Diddy situation. Well, there's people saying that he has. And well, Jay-Z. But this is the thing. How did I know this? So I listened to Kanye West when he said, I ain't never killed nobody. I ain't gotta worry like P. Diddy and Jay-Z do. Do you know what I mean? And when he said they're feds, I took I took Kanye at his word because now, like, do you know that? Wow, it's the Fed, and you got to worry that he's a Fed, and the Feds are the one that's looking after his case. Like, do we not fucking? We just don't get it. We don't get it. But then again, there's Pierce Morgan. He's more mainstream. He he just had a um Jaguar Wright on his show, and she's out there freely saying all this stuff, Daniel. You think if the FBI was good, right? Not many people seeing somebody say those sorts of things. The FBI would be at that person's door saying, "Hey, can we get the information that you have so we can arrest this person or we can come and tell fucking the public that you're all sorts of cuckoo." You know what I mean? But us as society, we can't pick up on that. If someone's screaming that there's a dirty little thing going on in the music industry and that Quincy Jones is not a good dude, it should be looked into. And if it's false allegations, the news should come back and make that humble that person. But I don't see any of this happening. Do you know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying, Daniel? Does anybody on here understand what I'm saying? We as humans have either brainwashed to think that we don't have the power or the right to use common sense and to say, hey, This doesn't make sense. Like, here's the other thing. I got a lot of good information from Kanye. There's this workout guy. Oh, his name's Harvey Pasternak, Daniel. He was like, turns out he might have been a handler, but he was Kanye's workout guy. And while it wasn't his first celebrity with Kanye, wasn't. He was with the likes of Mac Miller and that girl from 8 Mile that passed away. Now, this workout guy, I don't know where he thought he had the power, but he threatened Kanye in text. Kanye showed it, where he threatened to have him so drugged out that play dates with his children wouldn't be anymore if he didn't stop acting erratically and saying things like P. Diddy and Jay-Z are killers. He threatened Kanye. And the big thing is, Daniel, if you look into this Harvey Pasternak, he's a Canadian lad. I'm He's not a Canadian brother of mine, I don't think. He works for the military. Some sorts of like where they like do like mind control games and stuff like that. They throw some medicine at it and they try and play mind games and he was part of that regime. You know what I mean? Yeah. So why would he be Kanye's friend? Nobody puts this together. Yeah, Harvey Pasternak's walking around on the fucking streets, threatening celebrities, making them fall in line. And who knows what kind of cocktails he might be brewing up for them. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean, Daniel? Well, I think they tried to, you know what I mean? See, here's the thing about mental health. You have to admit you have a problem first. So what they did to Kanye was admit that he had a problem because he was exhausted or something, you know what I mean? And then they tried giving him lithium. Lithium. Imagine the impacts that lithium could have on your brain. Don't they make batteries with that shit? Just like I just don't think lithium's gonna be a you know what I mean? I think it's I don't know. But I don't know. That's the thing, Daniel. Kanye was saying a lot of brilliant things and like even everybody got on him when he said that thing about the Schmittler guy and but here's the thing, like just like Michael Della Rocha, they tell some truths and they help people. You know what I mean? They do bring confidence to people that don't have confidence, but they so they do have a good impact on people, you know what I mean? And they do give good information. So I'm quite sure that even Schmittler had some impacts on people to give them some sort of knowledge that empowered them to, but then again, sometimes the most evil twats should be the biggest learning lessons, right? But we just sometimes never learn our lessons. You know what I mean? Should have learned from Hitler, right? You can mind fuck that country into thinking you're doing the right thing. You know what I mean? That's why I always say, is Ukraine the right thing? No, no. I want my answers I want my questions answered. It's like, Daniel, did you know they have an Azov battalion? They like the Schmittler guy. Still to this day. But Zelensky, he absorbed them into the regular army. You know what I mean? Because hate don't spread. You know what I mean? And I'm not making this up. I got that from I thought it was a good question from Fox for a change. Hey, what'd you do about that Azov Rebellion that no, she's integrated them into me. They're not a problem anymore. They're no longer schmasses. Oh my goodness. But then you know that Zelensky's an actor. Trudeau was a drama teacher. The guy that got Zelensky into the position that he's in. I'll let you determine for yourself. You just go take an investigation, Daniel, and travel down that. So you know what I mean? So like not only are we mind controlled, we're paying for it. You know what I mean? Like I think it's time to stand up, Daniel. You know what I mean? How many good people have to go down for everybody's unwillingness to stand up? It makes me sick, but I love Julian Assange. I, I absolutely, I can't, I fucking put myself in his position. Can you imagine what that man went through, Daniel? Can you imagine what that fucking man has been through? All for the truth. Just because he wants the truth. And nobody came to his aid. He suffered and suffered. He's come out and said Mike Pompeo wanted him dead. And what is Mike Pompeo doing now? Threaten him. What, like, why are Mike and like Julian Assange caged up and Mike Pompeo's running around on the streets? For real. And you got to ask yourself, Mike Pompeo's a Trump guy. Why couldn't Trump have helped Julian Assange? Would have been the right thing to do. Or let the public know where Julian Assange was lying. Because that's the thing. How do you incarcerate somebody without a crime? The American government sure had the power to do it. Good people suffer while the weak ones prosper. There's going to be a time, I think, weak ain't going to get it. No, you're going to have to be willing to be a Julian Assange. You're going to have to be willing to be locked up. You're going to have to be willing to be incarcerated. You're going to have to be willing to stand up for what's right. Or, I don't know. See, that's the thing. Daniel, that- about spiritually growing, you come to the understanding you don't really know anything. But you won't let people take away what you think you know unless they show you facts or proof or a reason to think that way. But if there's a hell, I don't want to go. I want to do and use my common sense and figure out what the right thing is to do. Because if this ain't hell, it gets worse than this, Daniel. Yeah, I want no part of it. That's why I always say, let me know where I'm wrong, just in case. You know what I mean? Who wants to be wrong about saying they're one of God's chosen ones? I fucking don't. But here's the thing. I don't want anything from anybody else. I'm here to tell everybody to get their own fucking power, Daniel. And no one wants to do it. It's a sad situation. I say, hey, I try and share my story with you guys to show you how humanity is, to show you how you're controlled, to show you. But they don't want to listen. Instead, they want to take and make their own stories and try and make me look like a jackass. Instead of proving me a jackass, they'll make their own fucking stories up. I don't know. Is Uncle Will in the house? Because I did write in the thing that this was the last time I was tagging him. Because I do like what he tried to do in this video. where he likes to show his people on his side. They don't know that he came over threatening to fucking get me locked up in a hospital and threatened that people were coming to get me and whatever else he was trying to fucking do. No, I had. But he wants to show the side that he wants to show just in case people are watching over here. He wants to show his side over on his side where he comes off smelling very good. So I'll try and let you guys know what he's saying here. Hey, Uncle Will. Someone recorded you, Uncle Will. That's my girl, Vintage. Vintage, I love you. What is there something going on about Diddy? Diddy didn't kill himself. Call him it now. All right, Uncle Will. All right, here, I'm gonna. So Uncle Will says he went back and watched a lot of my old videos. Okay. Well, as much as he could handle. He's gonna give me his honest opinion. He thinks the death at my workplace triggered something in my brain. Well, Uncle Will, I'd had some things triggered in my brain before the death at my workplace, but yeah, so death at my workplace, it should trigger something in your brain to say, fuck, I don't think this is right. Maybe I should put my hand up and hey, maybe if I'm right, we can eliminate this mistake again because I think it's probably because there's too many coils up on the floor because, well, I tried to tell the guy about the system and he just tried to keep fucking and fucking and fucking and fucking and fucking me. So I thought that was pretty important that at least the Ministry of Labor, because a man died. We should care when a man like when COVID was around, every life mattered. You know what I mean? I just thought that Jamie's life, you know, I'd sat, had coffee with him, cigarettes, you know what I mean? Hey, Jamie, can you do this for me? Hey, Jamie, you know what I mean? No, me and Jamie weren't friends or anything like that. And, but, as humans, we did talk and we had conversations. And we, I knew that Jamie didn't really want to be at work. He wasn't one of those guys that wanted to be at work. If he could just drink and have his quad and drive around all the time and not have to worry about anything and have groceries supplied for him in a place he would never have been at work. He just would have fucked around and drank and rode his quad. He never really wanted to be at work, but he was a decent worker. He didn't go the extra mile or anything like that. But I took the time to get to know him. You know what I mean? So yeah, it impacted my brain a little bit. Well, Uncle Will. You know what I mean? Would you like to know what happened to actually break my brain to begin with, bud? It was lies, dude. The lies really broke my fucking brain really bad. And the extremes that humans will go to hide their fucking deceptions, dude. It's amazing. Because that wasn't the first incident, dude. No, no, no. See, they changed the system, so it caused a whole bunch of extra inventory. I tried to explain that to him. Shit went bad. We were on COVID. We got people so they didn't come back because the government was offering them almost as much money to just fucking stay home. You know what I mean? So I had to get to work, and there was full chaos and mayhem. I couldn't like I'd have to get into the whole rigmarole of it, Uncle Will, but there was a whole workplace situation, okay? Let's just say there was a menace and he was driving us all crazy. We couldn't handle it anymore, Uncle Will. Now, Uncle Will, I don't know if you've ever been put in a position before where your life is dedicated to your job, completely fucking dedicated. Your phone, you're sleeping by it with your fucking ear. You're spending at least 12 hours a day at home. Your commute is like an hour there and an hour back. You know what I mean? You're just your life is your work. Have you ever been the and it's not just you going through it, it's a bunch of people. And it's not really your fault because the head guy is kind of fucking meathead and he's causing a whole bunch of problems. But anyways, so what happens is, well, I'm trying to explain to you, Uncle Will. I'm not the only one that got broke, okay? But people lie sometimes. You know what I mean? To not get in trouble, so they don't lose their jobs. I tell you that there was a guy who told me that he was about to go off on stress leave because he couldn't handle it anymore. Now he was one of my supervisors, but this is before I went off. You know what I mean? No crazy stuff going on, no chosen shit, none of that, okay? So, what ends up happening is he doesn't go off on stress leave, but that would be marked in his doctor's stuff, right? But what happens is he's so stressed out, little heart gives out. He has to get rushed to the hospital and shit, eh? No, just a young buck, younger than me, bud, younger than me. Yeah, all because of stress. I don't know. You have to check that out for yourself. You know what I mean? I don't know. What would cause someone's heart? But anyways, then there was this other feller named Corey that have offered anybody the numbers to any of these people if they want to find out Jay's side of the story, or Corey will tell you the truth. I can tell you that. He's no longer in the situation where he has to lie against himself to protect himself. Because Corey's the one person that never ever lied on me. So that I know of anyways. So Corey went off on stress leave. But he had to say it was personal, so nothing would be held against him, and he didn't have to say anything bad about the company or any of that sort of stuff. But the weird thing about this, Uncle Will, when this Corey went off, now he went off after me, actually, so I'm getting mixed in the story, but he went in after me. But before Corey went off, like a week and a half before Corey went off, I went to HR because they wouldn't do an investigation. And I told the HR manager, Kinga Singapore, I told her, I said, Corey will be going off on stress leave next. He can't handle it anymore. The pressure they are putting on him. And they're looks like they're doing it on purpose. They actually looks like they enjoy it. Like he will be next. And she didn't get it when he took a personal stress leave. She didn't get that. What a coinky dink, eh, Uncle Will? Like, these are the little pieces that I put together, you know what I mean? Like, I talk about humans will hide things. The guy that I asked to get investigated, this is the things people will go to, and the company doesn't catch on, they back them. So, what he did was, is he got IT department to delete every email that the 2 of us had ever had together. This guy named Troy Solinger did that. Every fucking email. What? If I'm the problem, why would you not want me to have these emails between the 2 of us? You know what I mean? Uncle Will, do you get what I'm saying? So, yeah, but I got to the point where well, let me tell you this story because it'll lead into where I got to, okay, bye. So, what really got me in a bad spot at work because, well, they couldn't give me too much shit or fucking hang on me too much because I worked 24 hours a day for them, right? But even though they couldn't they would they would blame it on others. "Fire that person, Carl. Fire that person, Carl. They're the problem, Carl." No, they're not. There's no fucking problem. So I couldn't fire problem people. Well, yeah, that's we bring that up. Another person, Uncle Will, I could get you their number. They won't talk to me neither because I actually thought about doing a lawsuit. So I got a hold of this one guy and I said, "Hey, bud, if we go to court, will you tell the truth?" And he says to me, he says, "I can only tell what I know." And I've got this all on tax spot. I can only tell what I know. And I'm like, well, what do you know? Not much. So still on tax, thinking, well, maybe I can travel. What a fucking brainwave. I say, hey, John, what do you got to like? You must be benefiting from something just to keep your job. You're just gonna tell what you know. And it's not much. You should know a lot. You worked there, fuck. You should know exactly what was going on. You know what I mean? But anyways, he says, yeah, they gave me an apprenticeship. Like he fucking says this to me, Uncle Will. Yeah, in text, they gave me an apprenticeship. See, because here's the deal. Remember how I said they weren't too hard on me? The people they wanted me to fire him. See, he was having such a good time, and how much was going on. So much so he came into my office with my manager, and he asked to be demoted because he couldn't handle it anymore. Can you imagine what kind of person takes like a $5, $7 pay raise, like cut? Can you imagine that? Uncle Will. But here's the thing. Anyways, those are just a few little things. But I'll get back to what I was going to talk about. The one thing that fucked me, that fucked me good, and it was their rules, huh, Uncle Will. So we had these rules where if you were sick, you couldn't come back unless you had a COVID test. Well, holy fuck, bud. After you run yourself ragged for so fucking long, guess what happens? You fucking get sick, like really fucking sick. And you gotta fucking call your boss going, it's impossible for me to fucking get out of bed, dude. And now you guys are gonna make me do a fucking COVID test. This is fucking bullshit. I'm like, fuck, if I can just get a day of rest or something and see how I feel in the morning. No. So guess what, Uncle Will? They got me 3 days off. It's hard to run a plant when you're already sorted. And one of the few people who know what the fuck's going on ain't there. You know what I mean? So when I went back, there was a very, very harsh feel towards me. Even though, even though I believe I had the 3 days were a Wednesday, a Thursday, and a Friday, I was off, I believe. I believe. I may be wrong on this. I'm pretty sure of it. See, because I went in on the Saturday to run a shift. I also agreed because there was a weekend shift. I also agreed to go in on the Sunday, right? So I went in on the Sunday and I was only supposed to drive lift truck for a couple hours. I was supposed to get them all set up, do all that, and then I was supposed to be able to go home, right? Okay. I had a date with my wife. Okay. It, we weren't spending very much time together. You know what I mean? So this day I was supposed to spend with my wife, but I had to go into work and get shit done. So I go in to do the work, and there's fuck all people for that speak English. There is a supervisor because I get to leave, right? And so I'm doing my thing. I even stayed longer than I should have to clean up, make sure everything was all good. And because he was getting fuck all done and he knew he was going to have to pay for it, he was going to have to account for what he had done in the day so far. You know what I mean? Because he was having a hard time communicating with people and getting them to do their fucking jobs. So he knew there's going to be fucking hell to pay. So, you know what the dirty little cocksucker does? He leaves. So, not only did I come in early and get everything all ready, and I've been there for a few hours, and now I'm supposed to leave, you know, at like lunch and go spend some time with my wife. Now I'm working, I can't even remember how many, was it a 12-hour shift? So I went in like before there, no, I think it was a 10-hour. So I think that ended up being like a 13-hour shift. You know what I mean? All because he knew the cocksucker who was ruining the plant was gonna fucking come down on him. He fucking leaves. Doesn't have to get a COVID test to come back. Motherfucker, right? But then again, he was only the weekend supervisor. But I keep getting off the story. You know what I mean? I keep going into these other stories. You wanted stories, Daniel. I got anyways. So the whole COVID thing, right? Like, so I worked the weekend when I didn't have to because we were supposed to have people to do that. But so on Sunday when I come in, he was so pissed that he didn't get to do things with his family because he was working fucking all day. So he was pissed with me for 3 days. For 3 fucking days. He didn't get to do what he wanted to do. So, so, and I had to go in. I had to go in for afternoons. This is the thing. I had to go in for afternoons because, well, remember how I told you the guy's heart gave out? Well, he wasn't there. So, you know what I mean? So we go to have this meeting and and HR was there. And so was the plant manager. So Troy says to me, he goes, you need to start doing your job. And me going, holy fuck, we're so short staffed. Like, which jobs do you want me to stop doing to do my job? Like, holy fuck, you know what I mean? Like, I could prove this with like records, Uncle Will. You know what I mean? I'm like, what the fuck are you even talking about? Like, to my job. He's like, yeah, Jay's gonna be back next week, and the two of yous are gonna work together on afternoons. And I was like, well, first of all, my job is a day shift group leader, so you haven't got me on the shift that I'm supposed to be on, but cool. You give me Jay Jameson as a supervisor, I'll do the same thing on afternoons, and I'll make sure it fucking goes smooth on days too. No problem. Give me Jay Jameson as my supervisor and no problems. Now, this is when you know you're fucked. He says to me, he goes, don't use Jay as a crutch. Now, you got to ask yourself, hey, I'm saying if you give me the tools so that I don't have to do these other jobs, so I can focus on my job, I'm not asking for a crutch. I'm asking for you as my superior to give me the tools that I fucking need to accomplish my job. Because if I'm too busy running around doing these other little jobs, I don't have time for mine. Do you get what I'm saying, Uncle Will? Can you imagine dealing with a narcissistic little fucking cunt like this who has destroyed everything? He's like, I can bring more to the table than this. This is just a little bit. This is just the meeting before I fucking just had lost it. You don't know about the times I was breaking down and the crying and getting caught because I knew we were fucked. But anyways, so my manager, I look at him, I go, so Steve, what do you think it is that I need to fucking improve on? Well, Carl, you need to own that schedule. And right in front of HR, I said, oh, I'm not the scheduler. I'm not allowed to. Troy is. Well, you need to know it, Carl. The funny thing was, and this is no word of a lie. Hey, Steve, you tell me to change Troy's schedule all the time. When are you going to be a man and stand up and see the right thing? Because here's the thing, I can prove old Stevie, he didn't agree with Troy. You know why? Uncle Will, software is an amazing thing. It'll keep track of everything. Can you imagine your boss giving you the passcodes to the software where you can dictate your own pay? You can dictate whatever the fuck you want. But he had to in order to give me the tools that when I was at home, I could see what was going on at work because we always had them. But Troy thought it was a good idea for us not to have them. So I'd actually got to the point where I said to Steve, hey, don't give me the tools. Don't fucking, nobody called me at home. I'm not fucking dealing with this. So he gave me his passcode. Like, can you imagine that? Defying the company's orders. You were never supposed to give that out. If I gave my code to my workers so they could fucking have access to everything on, holy Jesus, eh? Uncle Will, think what you want, sweetheart. God's real. He sent me on this mission to fucking look at all the tool bags like you, bud. You have no heart. I can't believe you even see. I know why you did this little video, sweetheart. You want to make yourself feel good because deep down inside, you're a real piece of shit. You want the worst for people, don't you? Just the ones you don't like, sweetheart, because they have something you don't. They have courage, bravery, and they have God. Keep your daddy sinking, bud. See what happens. I don't know what happens, but you pave your own road. Anything on that computer can be manipulated. What? You think I can get in their software and manipulate it now? This is what I mean, Uncle Will. This is you talk about this man's no, I'll finish, and then we'll get to this man's death, but what happened first. So, imagine just that you need to start doing your own job. Now, you're already 2 team leaders down, and you got no one to replace them, so how do I do my job and then get that job done? Because they gotta print tags, they're you know what I mean? They're the ones getting the containers ready, letting them know what they're packing into, all sorts of different things, you know what I mean? And well, 2 of them are gone, and you got 1 that's brand new and don't work listen worth a fuck, and then you got another one, right? And after this meeting, when you come out of it, you know what happens? The 1 team leader that you did have to do what the fuck they were doing, they was going home sick. So I had 1 team leader that didn't know what the fuck they were doing, and let me tell you, I had never worked so fucking hard in my life because I didn't have a lift truck driver neither. I cannot fucking lift truck. Fucking oh, man, I couldn't like, oh, holy fuck, and I did it. I accomplished it. At the end of the day, I was and then the team leader, the one that you know what I mean? He manipulated tags like you're talking about. Yeah, he manipulated tags, so the system said that there was more done than what was actually done. And I broke inside. I literally, Uncle Will, I broke. I completely fucking broke. What was I gonna do? Nobody's listening. How am I supposed to protect my family? This man was not only destroying my I could get people to talk, but you're not interested in talking, Uncle Will. I said, "Hey, anytime you want, bud, I'll give you the names and numbers." So anyways, let me continue and then we'll get on to the death. Okay. So I pretty much I left in the morning. I handed it off to the other supervisor, said this guy go in, this guy go in. But anyways, all the way home I shook. I just shook. I was like, there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way I can continue to do this. Fucking do my job, do supervisor job, do fucking team leader job, fucking drive a lift truck, and then be told to fucking do my job. Like, Uncle Will, what the fuck do you do, bud? And then you can't blame it on the kid because like he's doing the best that he can. He just fucked up. You know what I mean? He didn't have me looking over his fucking shoulder like I fucking could have been if I was doing my fucking job. You know what I mean? So I shook all the way home. And then when I went to go to work the next day, I fucking couldn't. I was shaking. I fucking felt like I was having a heart attack, but my kid rushed me to the fucking hospital. I just couldn't fucking take it. I fucking snapped. I've been crying at work and shit going, this guy's a fucking idiot. Like, what the fuck do I do? I'm trying to talk to HR and fuck. Anyways, so but the moral of the story is I got broken from that point. I'll go on. I got to the point where I wanted to fucking kill myself. I was ready to do the deed, but I fucked it up. Okay. So that would be the first thing that really fucked me up was, wanting to not fucking live because I convinced myself I was a piece of shit because nobody would come and fucking talk to me about what the fuck was going on at work. Because, like I said, why do people hide shit? Do you know I got letters from work saying you're not allowed to talk to any Marwood employees? Like, is that a real thing, Uncle Will? Should that be a real thing? I can't figure out what my problems are, so I can't fix them. They can't tell me if I'm fucking lying or making shit up. You know what I mean? Like, no, it sounds to me like you don't want us to talk because you wanna make sure that you have them on your side so that, well, their job and their family is more important than fucking standing up for what's right. Hey, Uncle Will, that's what it's all about. That's who you are, motherfucker. You're a weak, pathetic loser, dude. You would have done the same fucking thing as those people. Just fucking lied. Thing is, I know some of them didn't lie and won't lie. If I ever had to prove myself. And I can back I know I can back every fucking word I say, motherfucker. Not only with my evidence, but with what they have hurts them even more than what I have on them. That's how God operates, motherfucker. You know what I mean? You've been set up, Uncle Will. Why have you been set up? Why have you set yourself up? Huh? You work for God and you got yourself in something you just can't get yourself out of. You are fucked. And I beg for you not to fuck yourself. Begged you. Do I look like I'm fucking kidding? Like, do you think I'm really insane, Uncle Will? Do you can you prove to me the WEF isn't real and the WHO isn't real and that there's a sick fucking agenda and anybody who thinks that children should be allowed to mutilate themselves is any sort of fucking human being? If you can't stand up and say no to that, you're not a human being. You are a fucking groomed, brainwashed, cult servant, fucking Satan servant, stupid motherfucker. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you want child mutilation, there's something wrong with your fucking brain. And well, we got presidents and prime ministers and vice presidents, and like this is a sick world, Uncle Will, because they are scared of what you may do. Well, why don't you find out? Why don't you take the time? Is it worth your soul to take some time to figure something out, Uncle Will? Would you take the time to figure things out if your soul was on the line? That's the real question, bud. Because right now, you don't have one. And I just proved it to you. If you think that you shouldn't stand up against child mutilation, there's something wrong with your fucking brain. You're right. You're right, Daniel. I know. This is my last hurrah with Uncle Will, though. So I thought I'd give him all the time that he needs. Whatever wants to make him feel best. Because right here, he likes to make himself feel best. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm not responsible for the accident. Well, no, I was nowhere near it, but I tried to avoid it by saying, hey, the system allows too much inventory. Take a look at a different way. Hey, I know a way that would completely change the whole system, Uncle Will. That's the thing. We had a problem with lead times. We had to eliminate the weekends with just the lead times. And it would have completely changed the scheduling system and would have possibly made it possible for one person to operate it out of 5 plants. No, no, Uncle Will, no, I'm not responsible for his death, but I do hold Marwood semi-responsible for the death of another woman, though, too. Let me know. There's this Kate girl. You let me know how HR should operate. How would you operate as an HR manager there, Uncle? Well, you probably all about the money, so you might have the same ideas that they do. But say a young lady comes down and sits down in front of HR Uncle Will and she says, "Hey, I really can't afford to lose my job, but I'm going through some really fucking difficult times right now, and I really need some time off, like, really bad times. Like, I really need this time off. What do you do as an HR manager? Huh? What should you do? What do you do, Uncle Will? What do you ever think you're gonna do to me, Uncle Will? You think you're gonna call and get me locked up? You are a complete loser and no interest in the truth. Whether I'm crazy or not, I'm no harm to anybody. But let's see, could Uncle Will do harm by trying to do harm to me? Uncle Will, do you know I take care of children? I have a child that relies upon me. Do you want them removed from my home? Is that really what you want? Because I want the best for everybody and all I want is the truth. Do you do you know that I take care of this child because there's people who just for some reason are fucking incapable of fucking doing so? Is that what you wanna do? You wanna get that young lad thrown into a foster home with people that he doesn't know? Do you even know what the things that you say or do, how they could impact other things? Do you have a clue on who I am, bud? I can tell you don't. You wanna think that I'm crazy because I said Ryan Upchurch was chosen. Dude, open your fucking eyes and ears. He tells you he is. You don't hear it. I don't know what his interpretation of chosen is. I always said that. He says he is. Hey, bud, did he have some experience with some mushrooms? Huh? Was he using a lot of weed? Huh? I just noticed things the same. Wasn't following him and doing what he was doing, but I just noticed some similarities. He was going through a lot of things that, well, I thought it looked like he was getting fucked over on it. Well, in fact, I thought the same of myself. You know what I mean? Did you ever watch my videos standing up for him versus your guys's? Where all I tried to do is use what people said on YouTube to try and figure shit out and who they are. I'm a people reader, Uncle Will. Don't you know? You still want Ryan and Ronnie to if you can't see that Ronnie has mental issues, and I'll explain to you why and where. You don't love that kid. It's easy to see. Not only does Ryan say it, but you can tell in a moment that he could have got to talk about how proud of his son he was. He took the opportunity to make it all about him. Remember when he was talking about being at Ryan's concert and how proud he was, and everybody loved Papa Church. Oh, they loved him so much. He had the greatest time of his life because Ryan's fans loved him. Like he was just one of them. Imagine that. Can you imagine? Fuck, if I can go see my kids up on stage impacting the amount of lives that that fucking up church can impact, it definitely wouldn't make that moment about me. Holy fuck, man. Like, these are the people, like, this is the world today. Patty Lynn is a fucking psychopath. A psychopath. She tries to convince me she never said anything about Brandon Loose in the squirrel outfit. Tried to make me think that I'm fucking delusional. Why? She knows damn well she did. Hmm, like, what kind of games are you guys playing? Like, do you think this goes well with God? 'Cause, like, I see Patty, and she's like, all these really nice memes and stuff all over the place, and I'm just like, "You that is so not you, B." Like, you actually came on screen, and this one you can take away because you've seen it. I've seen it on, Gotcha Man's, video where she says, "Hey," where she says, "I gave up my dreams for Ryan." Can you imagine? And Ryan watching that perform. Hey, what are you doing? Is the devil in the room or something? Hey, you're not even barking at me. Hey, right. See, I gotta take care of this guy too there, Uncle Will. Do you know what happens to him if I go away? They put him down. They already want to. I refuse. You want my dog down, Uncle Will? We'll make the call, bud. You'll break my fucking heart. Funny, Uncle Will, this world has taken everything away from me. And you know what it's done to me? Made me love myself. I learned to love myself by using the dark side against itself. Now, you can remain the dark side, Uncle Will, or you can find the light. And where you'll find the light is in the truth. And you got to dig deep inside of here, bud. She's way deep inside of here. That's where you'll find Christ. Hey, Uncle Will, you interested in Christ? Because ain't nobody can take you to Christ, bud, but you. You got to be willing to do that work. To be able to look in the mirror and see who you currently are, Uncle Will. And you got to tell yourself, children are worth fighting for. I could be a man and at least say no, but you want to knock a man that's willing to say no and try and find others just because you don't like my method. I ain't checking for you because there's a method to my madness, but you know what I mean? I work for God. I'm very unique. I do things in ways that, well, you wouldn't think were possible. They're kind of magical, but maybe they get mental. You know what I mean? I show you the magic through the mental. You know what I mean? Where I show you all the stages that I went through, Uncle Will. Because, well, what society wants me to think is I look at those old videos of myself and somehow that's me. Well, no, that was a process. I said it was a spiritual awakening, Uncle Will. I learned from it. You know what I mean? And I could teach you all those learning lessons that I learned from going through that. Why are you guys always worried about fucking vintages cards? Hey, you guys are all worried about vintages cards. You know what I would do if I were you, vintage? Want to have a little fun with these trolls? Start tagging them and do your videos, giving them readings. That's what I would do. Here's your card of the day. Whatever his name is. Oh, floppy cock. Who might that be? Oh, is that AD? Do you think that's it? AD, come on, bud. Go look into the weapons of mass destruction a little bit more. And when you come to the understanding that your government hates you and I love you, come on back, okay, AD? But you don't have to keep coming around here just to try and convince me that I'm stupid or I got demons or whatever. I gave you plenty of opportunities to tell me where my demons are, but anyways, I'm gonna go. I don't like usually doing these for over an hour, and maybe I'll do a TikTok for my buddy Daniel. Um, Uncle Will, you're right. I was gonna go do the rest of this video, but I really don't fucking care. You know what I mean? I love you. I want the best for you. If you ever decide to come to Christ, you know what I mean? Maybe we can. I gotta go. My dog is losing it.